Media, the way you were used to, what you were grown up with, is dead. It is over. It is through. And it's not so much that I'm glad it's over, because I don't want to see people. Why? I don't want to see people lose their jobs. But it was for the longest time a proxy. It was the propaganda arm of the radical left. The decline of mainstream news, as we call it, isn't just some kind of a trend. It's a long overdue collapse. It's hemorrhaging. It's in free fall. Dwindling audiences, bored audiences, vanishing, if not completely abandoned trust. The migration to alternative media platforms. Look at this, are all sounding the death knell for traditional news outlets. Local TV stations, by the way, the worst. They're the last to get the memo. Newspapers, if there are any. Public radio. These are relics of a bygone era, struggling to stay afloat, struggling to keep the lights on in a world that's moved past their tired talking heads, stale narratives, these Ted Baxter anachronisms. Now let's face it, no one is tuning in anymore because these networks no longer offer anything worth watching. It's simple. This bland, regurgitated scripts and the predictable outrage and the corny news, weather, and sports. Weather! I mean, how many apps do you have on your phone? This is local. Weather! My favorite, traffic reports on TV. What, do you got a TV in your car? What does that mean? Traffic? On what? It's to sell spots, you know that. The capture of the American public's attention is just, they've lost. The prestige of being an anchor has fizzled out because, frankly, the big networks don't want to pay for talent no one's watching. Look at Chuck Todd. Chuck Todd and others like him aren't leaving voluntarily. They're being shown the door. They're being given a copy of the home game. And the truth is, my friend, well, you know the truth, but I'm going to pretend you don't, is that people aren't waiting around for breaking news. 6 o'clock coming up. From dinosaurs in suits who act like they're still living in the 80s? The world has evolved, and the media haven't. While they sit in their glass studios bemoaning their shrinking audiences, independent journalists, Substack, look at Substack, just X or Twitter, whatever you call it, Alex Jones and others, they're blowing everybody away. And new media outlets, I don't know how long you're going to be calling them new because they're here, but these newer media outlets are thriving. People are flocking to voices that actually reflect their concerns, not elitist, out-of-touch pundits who pander to political talking points that have been handed to them by the DNC, whether it's through podcasts or YouTube channels or independent websites or whatever. New media are cutting through the noise and delivering what mainstream media outlets can't: authenticity and relevance. Hello. And remember, I'm not a journalist. Never said I was. Mainstream media's collapse and downfall, of course, was inevitable. They abandoned journalistic integrity to become mouthpieces for the establishment and corporate radical left overlords, I don't know how long ago. They ignored the public's shifting interests. They favor ratings-driven fear-mongering and the usual stuff. Sweeps. You should have seen when being TV, we're in sweeps. Oh my God, that was the worst. That was throw all of that shite you can at the wall and hope something sticks. Political propaganda being substituted for facts and investigation? No, sorry. Especially for people who say they're not doing this. And now, as their audiences abandon them in droves, they have the unmitigated audacity to wonder why trust is at an all-time low. Why nobody's watching? They did this to themselves. You can't call half the country backward or deplorable for years, repeat nonsense about vaccines and COVID nonsense, and then expect people to stick around, and then never even have the unmitigated audacity or guts or honor to say, we were wrong, we made a mistake. And meanwhile, independent creators are winning the trust battle. Plus, they're entertaining, they're interesting. They're not shackled by some corporate sponsor or network C-suiter. They're driven by their audience's desire for the truth. And also, you get people who really know what they're doing, who are actually doing the news, but aren't doing it because they think, well, I'm attractive, so I'll do this. I'll be Mary Richards, and or the new Betty Furness, ask your parents. The rise of alternative media isn't just good for viewers, it's good for everybody, for democracy, for the republic. We're witnessing right now the democratization of information, where news is no longer filtered through this small elite group of people, but it's instead delivered to you directly by diverse voices from all walks of life. These creators, these people, these wonderful people are uncovering stories that mainstream media won't even do. If you want to find something on geoengineering, if you want to find something on UFOs that doesn't laugh about this, if you want to find out about really the truth regarding Israel or Hamas, good luck. Good luck going to Fox News, and they're just as bad as anybody else. Don't let anybody fool you. But I want stories that those people wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. From corruption and government overreach to conspiracy theories to cultural issues, anything that I find interesting that does not have to be okayed by some exec somewhere. The old model is crumbling and good riddance. The pomp and ceremony of traditional media have been revealed as hollow. By the way, if you can, you should maybe go into a newsroom somewhere, talk to the news director, get back with me. This is the guy sending the message. You can't believe the number of people who don't know anything. The average American is done with being condescended to by people who live in, the proverbial gated communities, or who lecture them on issues like climate change while they're flying private jets and just saying things they don't really believe in. The unmitigated hypocrisy of this has reached its limit. And what we're seeing right now isn't just a media revolution. It's a cultural correction, an adjustment. The era of cable news dominance is done. It's over. And the sooner they accept it, the better off we'll all be. Independent media, my friends, will continue to fill the void, and they'll do it better and faster and more honestly and more entertainingly than any of their folks could do, the Ted Baxter, Ron Burgundy type. The future belongs, my friends, to platforms like you're watching right now, where free speech reigns and genuine conversation and interesting things flourish. It's time for mainstream folks to pack up their teleprompters and get out. Take off. They don't even know what they're saying. They don't even care. They're too busy looking, how am I looking? How am I doing? They're not stars anymore. I know what I'm talking about. They think they're beautiful or something, or they think that you look up and I don't understand what it is. It's over. It's done. They had their moment, but they or their execs squandered it by chasing clicks and virtue signaling and alienating the very people that they're claiming to serve. But they got caught in the middle of it. In the end, they didn't just lose their audiences; they lost their purpose, their focus. New media platforms like you're used to, won't make that mistake because it's honest. The stuff that keeps them going is the authenticity. What they're interested in doing is being real to you, and you can tell it. In fact, you're so used to very real people saying real stuff that you can spot a phony a mile away. These folks are rebuilding from the ashes, from the rising like the phoenix of mainstream media failure. And that's what you're doing. And I know sometimes I say this and it sounds like I'm really kind of getting overboard. I'm not. This is a revolution that is the greatest thing that's ever happened. I've been doing this for a long time, and I got to tell you something. I've never, ever, ever felt so excited about being able to say what I want, when I want it, and to cultivate and deal with and service my folks, my audience, my group, my subject matter, of which you're a part of. Do me a favor, my friend. Please subscribe to this channel. Did you know that 87% of the people who watch me here on this channel don't subscribe? Change that. Subscribe. Like the video. Hit that little bell so you're notified of live streams and new videos. And whatever you do, I beg, beseech, import you, and ask you, my friends, to comment. Comment as you see fit.